point in the night,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just glad to have made it through the day.
Yeah. Yeah, this is like pre-wind down. So you just like, you're going to hit a nice little climax. Take that as you will. Welcome everyone to Original Trail. I'm Laura.
I'm Julie.
And we're your hosts for this podcast where we're going to talk to creatives about their original work.
We wanted to explore their process, explore their inspiration, and talk about what drives them forward.
Yeah. So we'll begin each podcast just kind of catching up and being friends, and then introduce the creative and then jump to the interview. But today I would like to introduce Julie.
Oh my gosh, Laura, I didn't. Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm not even wearing makeup. Okay.
So Julie has been my friend since 2016. That's the most important date. She is an amazing panel host. I'll go most recent. She's an amazing mother, friend, wife, actor, producer very soon. Right on the cusp. And then Sprouts enthusiast for anyone who listened to our last one. And then just book lover. Yes. Book lover. And then you'll find her at bookstore _ gal on Instagram. And she's amazing. So that's Julie you'll be hearing from.
All right. Well, I'm gonna follow it up. Okay. So Laura is one of those people that when you meet Laura, you think, wow, you're doing all the things that I always wanted to do, but I was afraid to. You have written your own show, including
Julie, don't make me
music.
cry.
You have toured the country with said show and are about to tour this show internationally. And then you get to just put it out there for licensing because you have had your emotional catharsis and it has served you as a person in all that you need from it. Which means then you can free yourself up to take a break and start working on your next project, whatever that may be. I think two-handers are lovely. But you are also the person that whenever anyone is looking for guidance as an artist in employment, I always send them to you. I hope eventually you charge all these people that I send your way, because the support, both as a cheerleader and as a professional that knows what needs to be out there, that you have given me in resumes, in job interviews, in job negotiations is truly invaluable in my life. You didn't have any complaints about me, but since we're here, my one complaint about you is that you are too far away and you have just dangled the carrot of, I miss being so close to you for far too long.
I do. That's not a carrot. That's just a truth. And I will say that that was too emotional of an intro for where I feel right now.
You're going to dangle another carrot, aren't you?
No. But yeah. And I also want to say that when it comes to being friends with Julie, like truly, she just will fight for people that she that she believes in and knows are good. And like I and her husband and I are kind of cut from the same cloth, where we're like, we should probably just do it, or we should, and Julie will be the first one to be like, no, set your boundary. Like, and I just appreciate that about you, and I've learned so much about you and from you for that. And yeah, so I'm excited for everyone to hear us talk more. It's probably the most complimentary we'll be towards each other. No.
I am gonna start giving episodes carrot ratings for every time you like dangle a carrot or let me think that there's a possibility that you'd come back.
Well, I will say that this episode we're gonna cut to a conversation with Dina Najjar, who is also in Orlando, and I think I do dangle a few carrots during that conversation.
Off the top of my head, I'm going to give it a 2 carrot rating.
Out of 5 or out of 4?
No, just like think of it like a tally.
Oh, that I've dangled at least 2 carrots.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is there any vegetable larger than a carrot that I may dangle at any point?
Laura,
Yeah.
I know that you are in a beautiful new relationship right now.
Yeah.
But over the course of the episode we just recorded and just now,
Mm-hmm.
you have
Mm-hmm.
made several references. I ordered Domino's on the break, and I'm going to have that with some alcohol.
Yeah.
But I know that's not what you're doing. But if Domino's wants to sponsor us, fine by me. Their tots are delicious. How are they so crispy? What are they doing in that oven?
I would like to say that I did not think of any of those things as sexual. I just was talking about vegetables. You were
Laura,
the one.
roll back the tape. You literally said to me, "Is there a vegetable larger than a carrot that I can dangle in front of you?"
All right, so here's our conversation with Dina. Hi, Dina. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. We've been talking for a little bit, but we were doing that without our listeners listening. So, yeah, so we got special sneak peeks. So I would love to have kind of our guest introduce herself. We're so excited for her to be here and all of her original works and what brought her for us to talk today.
Well, hi, everyone. My name is Dina Najjar, and I am a Palestinian-American filmmaker, screenwriter, voice actor, stylist, and actor.
Awesome. Yay. So I'm so excited to talk to you. You and Julie are good friends, and you and I have met a few times through, we used to work together. But now we get to meet on this creative level, which is awesome. And just kind of talk about your filmmaking and also your styling business and what brought you kind of to that journey, if you want to kind of sum it up for us a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I started filmmaking in 2015 as an actor, especially being in Florida, where there aren't as many opportunities, especially since we lost the tax incentives. I started filmmaking originally as a way to give opportunities to myself and to my fellow actors to kind of take things into my own hands instead of waiting for opportunities, and also a way to create the roles and tell the stories that I wanted to tell that weren't being told. So that's kind of what got me started in that. And the styling business, I provide styling for actors for headshots, auditions, because I saw there was a need for it and there wasn't anyone doing it. And I had a lot of actors coming to me and saying, can you help me? I don't know what to wear for headshots. I was seeing also in our market a lot of really generic looking headshots, kind of people being told to wear the same things, and it wasn't them. It was people I knew, and I'm like, that's not really showing you who you are, though. It's like they were kind of trying to fit into a box of what they thought maybe casting wanted to see, or maybe they were told, well, this is what a commercial headshot should look like, and this is what, you need a business one and a casual one, and it just wasn't specific to who they were. And I worked on branding with a wonderful coach in LA named Jody Bentley, who helped me really dive deep into branding and headshots and really discover my version of these characters, and who, not only the characters that I fit, but the characters that I wanted to play. And so doing that work, I knew no one, at least no one I know of in town, was doing that with actors. So I brought it as a way to help them and to make it affordable, because actors are just nickel and dime for everything. So I wanted to make it really affordable. And yeah, just as a way to help them shine and be specific and show that what makes them special in their headshots.
I worked with you, as you know.
Yeah, that's what you and Mike.
Oh yeah, that's right. He dresses much better now. But it unlocked things for me that in some cases some people had taught me, in some cases I had sort of like misunderstood or misheard, and in other cases I had just sort of like convinced myself this is how you do it. And it really unlocked that for me. I really struggled as someone that, was making the bridge from theater to on-camera work of you go into an audition and you look professional versus like looking the part but not being the part, and also having sort of like, these are the things that I can pull from, because every time I had an audition I was stressing myself out with all this undue time picking out a whole outfit, when you had just unlocked this idea of like, here are these character archetypes that you're gonna get called back for, here's this the vibe that you're gonna put out when you put those clothes on. And obviously there was so much more to it than that, but just those have stuck with me for so long.
Oh, that means a lot, Julie. And that was my goal is to empower actors and to give them that confidence so that when they were, when you're doing headshots, when you're doing auditions, you feel good, you feel confident, because that's going to shine through. And that's the most important thing.
How much of it do you feel like is a little bit of like how much, like, not therapy, but how much are actors kind of fighting their own thoughts about themselves? You know what I mean? Like, I think
Yeah.
we are told to fit, kind of what Julie said. And I think that once they meet you, I could automatically see people going like, oh, well, I can't do that. Or, oh no, I have to fit. Like, how much of that is push and pull?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people had been told by, whether it be an acting teacher or an agent or whatever it is, like I said, this is, this is what your types are, or this is what you're going to go for. But delving deeper into, but what version of that are you? So let's say one of your types is a teacher. What kind of teacher are you? There's a bunch of different kinds of teachers. Are you the strict by the books teacher? Are you the warm and friendly teacher? Are you the eccentric teacher? I mean, there's so many versions of that character, whereas I was seeing a lot of just very generic, versions of, okay, well, I'm this, so I wear this, or I'm a mom, so I just wear a plaid shirt. But in moms, I mean, as you know, there's so many different kinds of moms, and the way you dress and present yourself is going to give off that vibe and automatically help them see you as that character. So one of the things I really like to do is actually look at archetypes of actors. Let's say you're playing a teacher, that you're playing a really warm and friendly teacher. Well, let's look at similar actors and similar shows and films that are playing that type of character. What are they wearing? And if you notice, there will be a pattern. The same kind of character is wearing something similar. And then when you are putting that on, you are going to automatically give off that vibe before you say a word. You already look the part, and then you feel confident because you look the part, and you're not worried about it because you're not stressing about what you're going to wear. You're like, I already know what my so that's my thing. Let me help you pick out everything so you can just concentrate on the work. You don't have to worry about that. Take that off your plate.
I was watching Abbott Elementary before we met up, and I'm like visualizing everybody in the school, and I'm like, oh yeah, all of that.
Right? Each one has a certain way that they dress, and they're usually dressed in that way. They'll wear different colors or versions, but they'll always have something that hints to who their character is.
I want to go back to, so it's 2015, and what happened that made you go, oh, I need to make my own films?
Yeah, I was extremely frustrated at the time. Like I said, I wasn't getting many opportunities. My fellow actors were saying the same thing. And, one of the things, I love comedy. That's my passion. I love how comedy makes trauma and hard times more digestible. You can have that heart and have a really poignant moment, and then you give it some levity with some laughs, and it's therapeutic to me. And there wasn't a lot of opportunities in comedy in Florida and in the Southeast market. There was a lot of mostly, especially independent films and different things happening, were a lot of dramas. So the first film I made was a comedy, and and they say, write what you know. So I thought, well, what can I write about that I know? And at the time, something that had been familiar to me was I had been a bridesmaid a lot. And so, kind of like 27 dresses. So
yeah,
I wanted to take the theme of friendship and explore what it means to be a friend, and in a very comedic way, and also showcase downtown Orlando. So we filmed all over Orlando, and it was called Thursday Night Downtown, and just, you know, what happens in this crazy night with two girlfriends. So that was my first one. I mean, I hadn't taken a screenwriting class. I hadn't taken a filmmaking class. That's not my background. I studied marketing. I have a master's in business. So I just kind of sat down, did some research, and, you know, was inspired by people who were creating their own work. And I was like, let me just write something. And I had a friend that I'd gone to acting class with, that we would meet about once a month and have breakfast and talk. And I talked to her about it, and she was like, yeah, I'm in. So we worked together on it, and worked together on a couple other films after that.
Awesome. Sorry, you go, Julie.
Well, you mentioned sort of the friend and the sort of like meeting weekly, and I feel like it's so important to have those sort of just like opportunities to just vomit creatively, and have that sounding board. And so I'd love to hear from you, you know, some of the collaborations, and how, even when you're not actively working on a project in the moment, but you maybe are something back burner or passive, or is on your plate somewhere, how do you sort of keep that momentum going and continue to be inspired around you?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's, yeah, I mean, keeping and persevering. And, you know, we have, as actors and creatives, we have our survival jobs, right? So, which are very draining. And if it were up to me, I would be filmmaking and on set every day, all day, and my heart would be happy. So yeah, finding the time to do those things. For instance, right now, I'm really trying to network with Middle Eastern creatives. So I have a group that I meet with once a month, that we do a script reading club. So we read every month, we'll read either a feature script or a pilot script. And through that, I met two lovely creatives who we've been talking about what can we do together to tell the stories that we want to get out there, because we see a real need for Arab creatives to be able to tell their stories. But the stories we want to tell is, you know, seeing people as, you know, having an Arab actor just play a teacher. They don't have to have an accent, and, you know, just be a woman, be a lawyer, be a character. So we want to be able to just see them as people. And so we've been kind of talking about that. So we'll meet, you know, once a month and talk about what can we do, you know, how can we collaborate together. And then at the same time, we're always, you know, reading scripts, learning what do we like at the script? What do we take from this? What do we learn from it? So yeah, definitely takes effort. And I think, but if it's something that's in your heart and that you're so passionate about, and you can't see yourself doing anything else, I think that drives you, and just keeping yourself accountable and finding like-minded people that, to work with, which definitely can take some time. My friend that I talked about that we did the other film with ended up moving to Atlanta, and she's great. We got to collaborate on several films together, but we kind of, you know, now are doing our own thing. But yeah, just finding someone that, finding like-minded people that want to tell the stories you want to tell, that you can work together with.
What are some of your inspirations, like either filmmakers or artists, or what do you love to draw from?
I mean, the people that inspire me are people that have made their own way, because that's what I'm trying to do. You know, people like Issa Rae, who had a web series that she made and was able to get an HBO show out of that, you know, but she worked really hard for that. She was pushing, she got people together, she filmed, she had people that weren't even actors working on it. You know, she pushed it, she marketed it. So she really hustled. So people like that who are creating their own work and telling the stories that they want to tell and get out there, and not just waiting for the opportunities to come to them, or just, you know, well, I'll take what I can get. It's, you know, I think it's always important to come back to your why. You know, why are you doing this? I'm not doing this to be famous. I'm not doing this to, you know, to be rich and famous or be a celebrity. I have a higher purpose. I want to change things for future Arab actors and Arab filmmakers. I want to change the industry so that we see diversity without stereotypes. We don't just stick in these, like, you know, small little characters to show, look, we have every ethnicity in here, but no, actually letting these people be the stars, be the leads, be, you know, why haven't we seen Lily Gladstone in a big feature until now? Because she wasn't given the opportunity, right? You gave her the opportunity and she got nominated for an Oscar. But we see a lot of those stories, and a lot of people saying, well, why weren't people nominated, or this or that? And I don't think that's the question. I think the question is, why weren't they given the opportunities to get nominated? So the more we can do that, that's what I want to change. And so I think that's always coming back to your why, and like, why do you do this? What are the stories you want to tell? What is your mission? I think that's what grounds me always.
And I think you touched on this a bit in that, but you know, the sort of external view of being in a creative field of what is considered successful versus our internal view and how we perceive it. You know, what is success for you? You know, what makes you feel like I've achieved this, I have accomplished this, I have ticked off this box in this goal?
Yeah, I think it's continuously changing. I think as someone who I'm definitely very ambitious, and I'm very hard on myself. So I'm trying to more appreciate the small wins along the way. That's something I work on. But I think success for me ultimately is to get to a place where I can just make a living creating, where I can just be doing this and tell stories and give opportunities to other creatives. And, you know, that to me would be ultimately success, and changing the narrative around Arabs, around diversity in the industry. And yeah, I think, yeah, being able to just do what I love for a living. And I don't need to be rich, I don't need to be famous, but if I can just do what I love, that's success for me.
What do you do during those hard times when you find yourself not being able to celebrate the big wins? How do you pull yourself out of that?
Yeah, it's hard, and it's, you know, it's been really hard in the industry. We had the pandemic, and then we had several strikes, and things really haven't gotten back. They definitely haven't gotten back to how they were before. There's a lot less opportunities now in the industry. So something I've been trying to do is find joy in other ways, you know, not focusing. I find, you know, if you're focusing 24/7 on, okay, acting, or filmmaking, it can overwhelm you, and then you actually don't see as clearly. So kind of like stepping away and doing other things. For instance, I took voice lessons for a year just for me, you know, not to perform or be a singer. I just wanted to learn. Now I'm learning piano just for me, not for anything else, but just doing things like that just for you, and not having an expectation from it, helps me find little joys and kind of just other ways to be creative without having a specific outcome that I need to come out of it.
And when your work is your passion, how do you separate yourself? How do you end a writing session? How do you walk away and sort of create that distinction of, I have finished this part of my process, and now I'm just going to exist as a human that wants to enjoy life and do my piano lessons?
Yes, that is something I'm consistently working on. I just read this book actually that I really like, called Time Management for Mortals, and it talks about that. Actually, if you you know, first and foremost, I actually found the book very therapeutic, because I'm someone who has all these goals and ambitions and things I want to do, and it kind of grounded it into like, okay, you're not going to be able to do everything you want to do. What are your top things that you want to do, right? And focusing on those things. And then making into digestible bits. So let's say, you know, you set aside time to write. Well, set aside, you know, not making, let's say I'm like, for instance, now I'm working on revising a feature script, you know, not saying, okay, I have to revise the whole thing today, you know, dividing it up into more manageable bits so that it's something, okay, well, you know, I set aside half an hour, and when that half an hour is up, that's it. I'm going to move on to something else. And also, at the end of each day, my unwind time is sacred. So not, you know, just having a time where, okay, I'm going to stop. I'm going to give myself time to just actually relax. And, you know, I love my film and TV watching time at the end of the day. That's sacred to me, to just kind of detach from everything. And so I think making it so you're not overwhelming yourself, because that was something I was doing before. I was like, I have to be productive 24/7, and then I wasn't even doing anything fun. Even on the weekends, I was like, okay, the whole day was like filled with things I needed to accomplish, and I'm like, I'm not even enjoying life, you know. And so that's, you know, then life passes you by, and just finding time to actually be in the moment is something I'm consistently working on. Actually just enjoying what I'm doing instead of being worried about all the things I need to accomplish and all the things I need to get done. So that's, yeah, just things like that. I have a group of girlfriends. We've been doing once a month, we go try a new restaurant. So it's like something to look forward to, you know, just it's like, we call it supper club. So something like that, just something to do that has to do with nothing else. It's just, we're going to eat and enjoy and just be in the moment. I think that it actually gives me more clarity and actually ends up making me more productive.
I love that. And I relate, like I relate to that so hard because I'm terrible about being that person of like, I'm just watching TV. I should be doing something else while I'm watching.
Yep.
And then I'm missing the show and I'm not relaxing because now I'm at my computer like this.
Mm-hmm. I
Yes.
think the phrase of you won't ever, how did you phrase it? Like, you'll never be able to do everything you want to do hit me so hard because I'm like, I'm always trying to fill this life with as much stuff as possible instead of, and I'm really trying to frame it as like, how can I fill it with as much joy instead of as much productivity? And that's
Yes.
a big shift for me right now. So to hear you talk about that really just helps in this moment where
Yeah.
I'm trying to actively steer the other way.
No, I highly recommend that book. I like
Okay.
it's actually that I will send you both of you the like the cover of it so you know what I'm talking about. I just finished it,
Yeah.
but it brought me so much comfort because the title sounds like, okay, it's going to teach you how to manage your time, be productive. That's not what it's about.
Mm-hmm.
It actually it's good for people like us who, you know, have all these ambitions and aspirations and I mean, I'm very type A, like everything, you know, just I have to do so many things. I have to get so many things done. And it even talks about that. You know, we get our to-do list done, then we have a new to-do list. It's just going to keep getting filled up and filled up and filled up forever. And then it's like, whoa, where did my whole life go? But just, yeah, focusing on like, what are the top things that you want to do? I actually, I'm like, okay, well, for me right now, I have a feature script. I'm like, I really want to finish that, and a second feature script I want to work on. So I have to now say no to a lot of other things that take me away from doing that. Because before I'd be like, oh, okay, well, there's this class coming up or this screenwriting course or something. And I would keep doing things and doing things and doing things. But then I wasn't getting done what actually was most important to me. Yeah. So saying no, actually, and keeping that list small, like what are the top 3 things that you're working on at a time? The author talks about that, and he has 3 things he works on, and in order for one of those slots for something else to go in there, one of those things has to be completed. Or if it's a project where he's like, oh, I decide I don't want to do this, fine, but there's only 3 things at a time to work on, whereas like I was working on like 7 to 10 to 20 different things at a time.
I just had the impulse of like, I should take notes on this, and I was like, what are you doing, Julie? You can listen to this podcast that we're recording and take notes then. But I was like, yes, Dina, yeah.
Well, and it's funny because when you first said the title of it, it made me chuckle because I was like, I know everyone on this call has done like time blocking before. We've done our to-do list. We've done our Asana. We've done our like, you know, and to hear that it is a book that is teaching you to just do the opposite. I will say when you said just 3 things, I may have had a panic attack, like a little tiny, like, that's a very small amount of things.
I know. It's definitely a different way of thinking of things, but also how I talked about working on being more present in the moment. He talks about a time where an art teacher gave them an assignment. You have to sit in a museum and stare at one painting for 3 hours. And at first he's like, what, for 3? You know, we don't, our time, it just, in this day and age, we don't have, our attention span is so small with social media and videos getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And you have to grab people's attention right away. We don't sit and actually appreciate things. And he talks about how at first he's like, okay, I'm just staring at this painting. And then as time passed, he actually started to notice things that he hadn't noticed because he was actually just sitting and not thinking about anything else, actually just focusing on this one thing. And it's crazy how hard that is to do, to actually just sit and focus without your mind wandering to different things that you need to get done and to life. And, oh, well, tomorrow I need to do this and this and this. Okay. I find that it was hard for me to do yoga. I used to do yoga and I'm like, I can't do this because I'll be in a pose for a while. And I'm like, literally just going through my to-do list of things I need to do. I have to do workouts where we move. Otherwise my head just is like focusing on.
I'm the same. Like, I either have to be in a group workout where, like, if I drift, they recognize and call me out, or I have to do like one of those bike rides where I'm clipped in and I can't, like, if I make the decision of like, I have too much to do, I need to go away and do it, like, I have to physically unclip myself and like get out of the situation.
So,
It's real.
yeah. So you have this feature that you're working on. What does that look like for you? So what is that writing process? How did it come? How did the idea come to you? All of that.
Yeah, so this one that I'm currently working on is actually based on a true story, based on my true story. It's a coming of age story about a Palestinian American teen, which is again based on truth. So it's something I wanted to write for a long time. I was struggling with what viewpoint I wanted to tell it from. Do I want to tell it from her viewpoint? Do I want to tell it from someone else's viewpoint? How do I want this to be? What's the tone going to be? And then I kind of just got it all on paper and, wrote a first draft, which was really kind of like more, it definitely, I knew it needed to be edited, but I was just like, I need to get it down so I can edit it. It was more a retelling of the story, whereas it needed to be more focused, for a feature on a certain point in time and things like that. So I just got down the story, and then I had a friend who does like script notes and does feedback for scripts, look it over, give me some notes. Then I was able to revise it, send it out again. And now I need to revise it again, but I got a lot of great notes. And in between each time when I get notes, I like to actually digest them and really think about them. And it's been now a couple months that I haven't revised it because I've been, I'll come up with things and I'll take notes of things I want to include and things I think about, so that when I go back, I'm not just, okay, let me just get it done. It's more like I've really thought about this and visualized it, gotten ideas from other stories I've seen, things I liked, moments I liked, and other things that I connected with, so I can go back to it. So that's what I like to do. I take some time between each edit, get notes. And, they say with notes, take what you want of it, obviously, take what you feel applies. It's still, at the end of the day, it's your script, but I did get a lot of notes that I agreed with and I thought were valid. So I'm looking forward to sitting down and applying them.
How did you find your note partner? Like to have, especially for something so personal, that you trusted to kind of give the story to?
Yeah, that was a big thing, because it's, when it's, like you said, when it's so personal, you're like, okay, well, the first person I gave it to, I told him it was based on a true story. I didn't specifically say it was, you could infer that it was my story, but I was like, this is based on truth, basically. But he's someone that I've been friends with. He's a professor. He's written books actually on dialogue. He teaches screenwriting. So he's someone that I trusted. I had a relationship with. We had taken an acting class together. So I felt good about him. I just went with my gut, and my gut told me I feel good about him being the first person to read this. So, and he gave me a lot of really great notes. And then the second time I went with a script writing service. So it wasn't someone I knew. It was just a service that I had used before to get notes on things. And so I went with them and also got, a lot of good notes. So yeah, a mix of having people, read it, and then people you don't know read it. And the more notes and feedback you can get. I knew I wanted at least like 3 or 4, to get some feedback from. So
as a writer, and I say as a writer because you have so many different aspects. So in your writer brain in this moment, how have you seen yourself evolve with things like taking that feedback and being able to sort of, kill your darlings and say like, what, this scene is beautiful, but it's not needed in this story. How have you sort of evolved in that way?
Yeah, it's definitely a process. And yeah, at first you're like, well, this is all important. It all needs to be there. Especially like I said, in my first draft, I'm like, well, this is my story. So it all needs to be here. This is, I can't, but then actually looking at it from the lens of like a film. Right. And, I like Greta Gerwig says this that I really liked, obviously, yes, look at the plot, the structure, the character. She's like, but when you write a scene, feel, what does the viewer feel? And that really stuck with me. So that's kind of what, and someone else said this, I know several people have, but also something has to happen in the scene. You know, I had a couple where it was like people talking, but like, yeah, why do we? To me, it's personal. Like I said, it's important because I'm like, well, it's my life, so it's all important. But for the story, it didn't need to be there. So kind of taking myself out of it and taking my ego out of it, and it's like, okay, well, what does the viewer need to go on this journey? What is important to them? What's going to make a difference to them? And then me watching things and looking, you know, and analyzing, okay, well, what's the point of this scene? Okay, what's the point of this scene? You know, so taking that and then applying it to my work, and just, you know, kind of looking at it from an outsider's perspective and not just everything is personal. And yeah, kill your darlings is not always easy, but it's for the best of the story.
I want you to know that, like, I was like leaning in, enthralled early on in that, and I ripped out the headphones, so I missed like a good chunk of that, trying to like find the holes to put it back in. So Laura, keep this section in the podcast so I can hear it.
Keep it all. It's all gold. It's all gold.
All of my stuff.
Yeah. Silver. No, I'm kidding. So, Dina, what do you have coming up? Like, do you have anything in the film festival circuit? What's out there?
Well, I have a feature that I was fortunate enough to lead that is being submitted to film festivals right now. And Julie is in too. We got to do a scene together.
So is Kieran.
I was just going to say, Kieran is in his first film also because she was pregnant.
It was the most beautiful serendipitous moment, and I'm just like so grateful to that entire production team, because I was supposed to be in another scene and they decided to induce me, so they gave me an induction date. So I emailed them and I said, hey, I'm so sorry, they're inducing me early, so I'm not going to be able to do this because I'm pregnant. And they were like, you're pregnant? We need a pregnant woman. Can you film earlier? And I was like, yes.
So it was perfect. So yeah, I haven't gotten to see it yet, but I'm very excited to hopefully see that soon. So we'll see where that goes. And yeah, and finishing up my writing my feature, and seeing, you know, where I want to go with that. You know, whether it be to do a proof of concept or to try to pitch it. So we'll see what happens with that.
Awesome. So, Dina, before you leave us, just tell our listeners where they can find you, how they can learn more about you, so that the conversation doesn't end with them knowing about you here.
Yeah, so I'm most active on Instagram. So I'm at Create with Dina, and my production company is at Films by TN Productions. And so those are the best. And my styling business is at Reel, REEL, Style with Dina, DINA. And yeah, you can also go to my website, which is my name, dinanajjar.com. But yeah, those are all the places you can find me. And yeah, I'd love to connect with you. Like I said, Instagram, that's the best place to find me and see what I'm doing, what I'm up to. That's really where I keep up to date.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Dina, for joining us, and for our first episode. So we're doubly thankful.
I'm so grateful for you.
Having me. Yeah, thank you, ladies, for having me. This is great, and even greater to see your beautiful faces.
Thank you for listening to the Original Trail Podcast. The Original Trail Podcast is a part of the Trident Network. For more information about merch, our shows, or our other podcasts, please visit us at tridentnetwork.com.